Hey folks, good morning. It's a beautiful day today. Weather's cool. Love the cool breeze. Love the cool air. Everything's been not crazy, but not perfect either, but it could be worse. So I was doing some research for one of my classes today and the last few days overall. And something came up that really exemplify our overall situation in this nation today. For a lot of you who knows that I've been taking courses for over 35 years for different jobs, different degrees, different certifications, and etc. etc. But this particular time, I'm doing research, and we're talking about intolerance when it comes to the legal aspect and also the ethical aspect of intolerance. Why is this aspect very important to me personally, and why is it important for me professionally? For over 35 years, I've been a student who's been focused on studying the value of ethics in our world as a whole. Intolerance is a very important aspect because the the voice of reason might say, well, it's a simple aspect that intolerance is present in every part of our life. That's true. But it's how you guide the resource of the law and the reasoning of the law when it comes to intolerance. Lately, the idea of intolerance is manifested into a different methodology and also philosophy. Legal aspects when it comes to intolerance might be black and white, but it's the venue of how intolerance is seen ethically in every facet of today's world. So, the question for you, based on my studies, is is intolerance really something that people are ethically unwilling to talk about? Is is the idea of to discuss intolerance as a whole a hard subject to swallow? I'll be honest with you, it is for many people. And something that comes to mind for me personally is something my grandmother's taught me when I was still a little boy. That every aspect of our intolerance, our prejudice, our indifference is based on the characteristic of information and perception and assumption. When I talk to people about perception and assumption, if you start presuming things and assuming things, that's a cluster F. You should not presume about anybody. You should assume about anybody. You don't do anything without critical, concentrated, supported evidence to put that in mind. Like any police investigation, like any assessment of a theory, of a thesis, or a hypothesis, those aspects need a clear, distinctive, and direct or indirect evidence that connects to that hypothesis, that theory, or thesis. That has become the situation we're in today. Our ethical question is people hard to discuss intolerance because it's a subject matter that people are unwilling to discuss because it hurts the core of their own value or question their value. The answer is true. It does. And that's a parameters that people are unwilling to cross even today. One of the discussion in the legal aspect in my own perception is that intolerance is part of human nature. But the same part that the Bible and other religious texts and non-religious texts have said is that intolerance is a human characteristic based on the prejudice and distinctive misunderstanding or lack of understanding of individuals or individuality in our world. It is as old as time itself, but the law has been focused on certain aspect, and the balance of intolerance within the parameters of ethical guidance is still based on the human characteristic of the person themselves and how people are treated and how we treat others. So do you think in your mind intolerance as a subject matter is still something hard for people to swallow and discuss? And for me personally, it is. I've seen too many people who I try to encourage to talk about situations like this, to be forward and upfront about it. And what really is amazing, and it's amazing if you give them the tools to do it, people have a misguided point about intolerance based on socioeconomic situation, based on history of themselves and others, and finally of their own environment they are in or they will be at, or whatever aspect they're in or are going to be put at. Those are part of the situation that I've noticed in the last 35 years, that people are willing to talk about it but not willing to talk about it. It's a gambit of fear, of doubt, of questionable reasoning, and that is something that Americans have to deal with, but they're unwilling to deal with it because it's a subject matter that has a lot of tentacles on many parts of our lives. So in your life, what do you think? Is intolerance something people are unwilling or willing to talk about to better our community and better ourselves? What do you say? If you have any questions or you have any statement or doubt, hit me. Because the only way to fix this issue is to battle it head on and try to find a better solution. So for now, take care, stay safe, and of course, hey, have a nice day and keep smiling, keep charging.